The whisper spread like wildfire. He cheated. There is no way that dollar passed. Impossible. He must have seen the questions before. Teachers murmured. Students stared. Even the principal frowned in disbelief. Obinna stood still, alone in the middle of the staff room, his palms sweating, his heart pounding like a drum. For the first time in his life, he had succeeded, and no one believed him. "You will rewrite the exam," a teacher begged. This time, in front of everyone. The hall was packed. Students pressed against windows. Teachers stood with folded arms. A single desk, one sheet of paper, one pen. Obinna sat. He breathed. Then he wrote, calm, steady, with heaven backing every word. All his teachers are ready to mark instantly. When they were done marking it, the principals collated the scores from the teachers. He was shocked with what was handed over to him. He eventually stood forward to announce the score, and silence fell like a hammer on the school. All the teachers and students couldn't wait to hear the score. But before this moment, before the murmurs, before the disbelief, before the miracle, there was a boy they all called Dollard. His name was Obinna, and this is how his story began. They beat him with a cane so long it curved like a question mark. "Spell your name," Teacher Nkem shouted, sweat dripping from his bald head. Obinna stood in front of the class shaking. His hands were sweaty. His legs felt like they were filled with hot water, and his mouth went dry. He looked around, hoping someone would come to his rescue, but no one moved. Even the chalk on the board seemed to be laughing at him. He swallowed hard, tried to blink away his tears, and opened his mouth to try again. B B O I A N. "Olodo, foolish boy," the teacher screamed, slamming the cane on the blackboard. The class roared with laughter. Chairs squeaked. Feet stomped. Some of the boys threw pieces of paper at him. Even the girls giggled and whispered cruel names behind their hands. Obinna's heart pounded. He wanted to disappear. He wished the floor would open and swallow him whole. He hated coming to school, hated the way every day felt like a battlefield where he never had any weapons. No matter how hard he tried, the letters danced before his eyes like restless spirits. Every night he read his books, but by morning the words disappear like smoke. Was his brain broken? Was he cursed? That day, his exercise book was torn. His school shirt was soaked with tears, and his sandals were filled with dust from being kicked around. But worse than the beating was what his classmates called him every single day: Dollard. Everyone in Umueke village knew Obinna. He was the boy who could not spell his name correctly. Even in primary 6, his mind seemed slow. His eyes were always blank. He talked to himself, sometimes, and stared at books like they were written in Chinese. His teachers had given up. Some used to send him on errands during class just to avoid dealing with him. "Go and fetch water," they would say. "That one can't learn anything." One Friday afternoon, during a test, Obinna couldn't answer a simple subtraction question. 13 minus 8. He wrote 3, then scratched it out and wrote 1, then circled 6 and crossed it out again. When the teacher saw it, she called a staff meeting after school. "This boy is a disgrace," one teacher said. "I don't know what else to do," another added. "He can't even follow simple instructions. He's wasting our time," Teacher Inkem concluded. "He should leave." Obinna had been standing just outside the door, hoping to fetch water. He heard everything. His chest tightened. He dropped the bucket and ran home barefoot, tears flying from his cheek like raindrops in a storm as he runs. The next week, the headmaster of the school summoned Obinna's mother. "Madam Chioma, I am sorry to say this. Your son is not doing well," he said, adjusting his glasses. "He may not be fit for school. Consider withdrawing him and letting him learn a trade. At least there are people who have become rich and wealthy without going through school. Maybe he can learn to be a mechanic or tailor or sort of." Chioma sat still, trying not to cry in the headmaster's office. She nodded politely, stood up and held Obinna's wrist tightly. On their way back home that afternoon, tears flowed freely down her face. She didn't say a word. Obinna noticed how hard she gripped his hand. Her silence was heavy. Then when they reached the bend by the village stream, Chioma stopped, turned and began to beat him softly on the head with her fingers. And every word from her mouth was equal to a slap on Obinna's head or back. Every attempt of Obinna to answer her also was followed by slaps. Unfortunately, no one was near to help the young boy. "You have shamed me. I carried you for 9 months, and this is how you repay me," she cried. "You don't understand anything. You don't even know your left from right." They both walked home crying. No one could explain who was beating who. When they got home, Chioma threw her head tie on the floor and shouted, "Ebube, talk to your son. Let us remove him from school before he disgraces us completely. Let him go and learn mechanic or carpentry. I am tired. Let him learn a work." Ebube put down the hoe he was sharpening. "Chioma, have you forgotten what the Bible says?" "What Bible again? Which verse says children should not learn work?" Ebube stood up slowly. "No, Chioma, I will not remove my son from school. This one, yes, this very one, will surprise us. He will cope, and he will be greater than those who mock him. God does not make mistakes. I have seen it in my spirit." Chioma burst into tears again. "You keep saying God, God. Where is this God when Obinna cannot even spell his name?" But Ebube remained calm. He took his son by the hand, laid his right palm on Obinna's forehead, and declared with firm conviction, "You are the head and not the tail. You will sit before kings. Your mind is blessed." Obinna looked up at his father. That moment stuck in his heart. At school, the insults grew worse. During morning assembly, Obinna often stood alone at the back. Even the juniors whispered about him. One day, the senior prefect stopped Obinna in front of the school gate. "Why are you walking like that? Kneel down." Obinna obeyed quietly. "If you can define what a noun is, I will let you go." Obinna looked up confused. I I don't know." The prefect and other students around laughed. "Olodo, dullard, Stay there till the bell rings. Obinna knelt there for almost an hour for no offense. From that day, Obinna began to pray, Jesus, please help me. I am tired. I want to understand like others. I want to be useful. His father continued speaking life over him every night. He would lay his hand on his head. Your brain is blessed. Your future is secure. The wisdom of God rests on you. He insisted that Obinna cross to secondary school despite his poor performance in his primary school leaving examination. By JSS1, nothing had changed. Obinna's report cards were filled with red ink. Teachers no longer bothered to ask him questions. But Obinna had started a quiet routine. He would wake up 5 a.m. before anyone else, kneel beside his bed and whisper, "Brain, hear the word of the Lord. Walk well. You are not slow. You are sharp." He fasted every Monday. He attempts to read his Bible every night. He even tried reading one new word daily. The miracle began to happen as he was able to read the Bible. Even though he couldn't really add letters together in school, but he could when he carries the Bible. He couldn't share this with his parents for the fear of what his mother would say. He started saying behind after school. Even when everyone else had gone home, he would write letters and words on the sand with a stick, saying them out loud. Many times he pronounced them wrongly, but at another time he said the words correctly. Some laughed, but he kept going. He befriended an old retired teacher who lived near the school, Mama Doris. She gave him free lessons once a week and told him, "Don't worry, boy. Sometimes the stars take time to shine." Then came the night that changed everything. That day, he had been especially exhausted. A teacher had shouted at him in front of the entire class for misspelling government, and a group of boys had hidden his sandals again as a joke. He had walked home barefoot, the hot stones on the road burning the soles of his feet. At dinner, his mother had barely spoken. His father simply placed a hand on his shoulder and prayed as he always did. Obinna went to bed that night, wiping silent tears from his eyes, whispering, "God, please, I beg you, I can't take this anymore." He stood in a great bright room in his dream. The walls sparkled like diamonds. Light came from everywhere and nowhere. A man in white walked towards him. His robe shimmered, and his eyes held oceans of peace. "Obinna," the man said, "do you know why I allowed you to struggle all these years?" Obinna knelt down. "No, sir." The man smiled. "I wanted to use your story to show the world that I am the one who gives wisdom. It is by grace, not by power, nor by might, not even by gene, but my grace." There are people who assume they are naturally brilliant and so become proud. They never reckoned with the fact that I gave them the IQ to fulfill the purpose I created them. They don't even regard me. They become proud. But as for you will depend on me. You will never be proud. I will lift you, and you will never fall." Then the man touched his forehead. The touch felt like fire and water at the same time. It burned away shame and filled him with light. Obinna felt as if his brain was being rewired, like invisible hands were arranging broken pieces back into place. He saw pictures, words, numbers, clear, sharp, and beautiful. And then the man in white smiled again. "From today, you will understand. You will remember. You will teach others what I have taught you. Never forget, it is my grace, not your strength." When Obinna woke up, a strange calm filled his heart. That morning, everything in class looked new. Words made sense. Numbers clicked. He answered 2 questions correctly in maths. Within weeks, his improvement shocked his classmates. Obinna topped the JSS3 mock exams, but instead of applause, they accused him. He cheated, one teacher said. "No dullard can jump from last to first like that," another added. Maybe he saw the question paper, some students whispered. Some claimed he paid someone to write the answers for him. They told Obinna to confess. "I didn't cheat," he said. "God helped me." Still, the school decided he would rewrite the exam in front of everyone. That morning, every student gathered in the assembly hall. Teachers watched. Obinna stood alone with a pen and paper. He wrote quietly, "No fear, just peace." He finished early. When they marked the script, he had again scored the highest mark. Silence fell over the school. That day, Obinna became a legend. The shame has ended, but by just one touch of grace. From then on, he began to speak to younger students. He gained back his confidence. Some of them were the same ones who used to mock him, but now he helps them. He helped them solve math problems, taught them how to read, and showed them how to memorize scriptures. He became the go-to person for both classmates and teachers. Every time he helped someone, he would smile and whisper, "Thank you. Thank you, Jesus, for your touch of grace." One day, the same senior prefect who had once punished him unfairly walked up to him and said, "Obinna, I was wrong about you. You are no dullard. You are a genius." Obinna replied gently, "I am not a genius. I am just helped by a touch of grace." He sat for WAEC and got 9 A1s. He scored 340 in JAMB. Then he wrote the Cambridge exam. People laughed. You want to write Cambridge?" He replied, "With Jesus who helped me this far, I will try and I will pass." He fasted every Friday. He studied from 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. He even tutored others. When the Cambridge result came, Obinna had broken the Nigerian record. News spread like wildfire. An American aviation school gave him a full scholarship to study aeronautic engineering. His mother fainted when she heard the news. Ebube danced in the compound. Neighbors shouted, "Jesus indeed is alive," his father screamed. Obinna stood outside that evening and whispered, "Jesus, thank you for your touch of grace. You helped me walk. Then you helped me stand. Now you made me fly. That evening, Umueke village was alive with joy. No one had ever traveled out of their community to the abroad. Women ululated and danced in wrappers. Young boys drummed on empty tins, and palm wine flowed freely in Obinna's compound. Even Chief Maduka, who had once told Chioma to stop wasting school fees on that dull child, came to offer his congratulations. Pastor Nduka stood on his stool and prayed for Obinna, blessing his future. Children stared at him like he had grown wings. The same children who used to point and whisper now reached out to touch him with awe. Chioma wore her best lace and wept tears of joy. "Jesus, thank you," she kept saying. "You did not shame me. Please forgive me, for I doubted you." Later that week, the local radio station interviewed him. His story spread like wildfire, from dollar to genius just by a touch of grace. The headline reads. Invitation came from churches, schools, and educational boards. People wanted to hear him speak about his journey from being a dull student to the best of all. Before he left for the US, Obinna went back to Umilke Primary School. He stood before the students with quiet smile. "Some of you feel low. Some of you have been called dull," he began. "But hear me, with God, nothing is impossible. Speak life over yourself. Don't give up." Mama Doris came forward with a walking stick and hugged him tightly. "I told you," she whispered. "Stars take time." Obinna nodded, eyes shining. The students clapped. Teachers wiped tears. And as he walked back to his father's compound one last time before traveling, he whispered again, "Jesus, thank you for your touch of grace. This story is yours." The end. If you enjoy this story, kindly comment, like, share, and subscribe to receive more inspiring stories like this. God bless you.